Hi, friends. I'm adding this in while I'm editing because I did not have my microphone plugged in while recording this reading. So the audio is going to be a little of lesser quality than normal. So I do apologize for that. I think it's still okay enough to listen to, though. So just wanted to let you guys know. So sorry. Appreciate you for listening, though. Bye. Hey there, Pisces. Welcome to your reading. We're just going to dive right in. I'm seeing if this reading is for you that there are some challenges in a relationship right now that are really affecting other areas of your life. Right now, you're represented by the Queen of Swords, Pisces, which is not your energy at all. I feel like what's going on in this connection is really kind of making you feel like not yourself. This is like having to be a lot more cold and a lot more, I feel like, direct with your words, but in a way that is, I'm hearing the word stern. Excuse me, I'm hearing the word stern. Um, Having to say things and communicate in ways that I don't think you necessarily prefer, but are needed to kind of protect yourself and your emotions and kind of like, I'm just hearing like safeguard yourself in a way. So there's a lack of like an ability to be vulnerable right now, Pisces, that again is just kind of taking you out of your energy and making you kind of have to act and feel like just not yourself. I'm seeing on your conscious mind right now, there's a lot of back and forth about kind of where you have been investing your time, your energy, those kinds of resources, specifically in this relationship, and whether or not it's something that is worth continuing to work towards. I feel like I'm seeing that this relationship, like, this isn't the kind of first time that the relationship has been brought to this kind of place, this place of reevaluation, this place of having to kind of lay everything out on the table and be like, all right, this is kind of what I'm putting in, this is what I'm getting back. Is it worth it? And there seems to be a kind of rejection of like personal emotional fulfillment I'm seeing happening when you try to make space for this relationship, like when you choose to kind of move forward and you want to continue working on this connection, there is um, something about what would make you truly satisfied, fulfilled, happy that you are rejecting, is the word that I'm getting. um, and it's like for the sake of company is what it feels like. For the like, there are certain aspects of yourself that are kind of being, I keep getting the word rejected. I was going to say ignored, but the word rejected came through. It's like you're rejecting aspects of yourself to keep certain people within proximity to you, Pisces. And I think we're at a place now where we're kind of reaching a breaking point with it. In the past influence, I'm seeing this pattern as it plays out. This kind of it's being represented by a more unhealthy kind of. I'm just seeing a pattern of like more so emotional dependency. This kind of feels like the kind of connection that has been through like various phases of someone's life, and so in that way it is familiar, and there's this sense of safety in that familiarity. But this connection has been kind of, I'm literally seeing it end and like be revived, is the word that I'm getting. Has been revived a few times over, but it is very clearly something that is unhealthy in some way. I feel like a lot of it is tied to like physical intimacy. Like, I'm seeing that specifically as one way where like when you guys come back together, I think the intensity of connecting physically with this person, you know what I mean? This is one of those things where it's like that aspect of the relationship is always good, but when it's time to open up in other ways, when it's time to be vulnerable and intimate in other ways, that's where there's some difficulty that is coming in. Um, Specifically, a lot around communication. Like, I'm seeing just the way that you communicate with this other person. It's just complete opposites. I don't think that when you speak, they necessarily hear what you're saying, and vice versa. This is like two people who I'm just seeing like two people that are constantly triggering one another because certain aspects of each of your past experiences, I don't think the other person has a complete and total understanding of how it affects the other. And so it's like you guys are kind of constantly triggering one another accidentally. And again, there's that lack of like vulnerability and intimacy emotionally and spiritually that would allow you to have those more intimate conversations that would like help bridge those gaps in understanding. Coming towards you, my dear Pisces, I do see you taking action on this. This is like I'm seeing you being in a very contemplative state. Like I'm seeing a lot of overthinking. There's a lot of mental energy here. When you, I'm almost hearing the messages like I'm seeing someone where when this kind of train of thought gets going, there is even a resistance to fully letting yourself like follow that stream of consciousness, because I think if you let yourself kind of talk about the situation, you would arrive at a conclusion that I think you would see that it's kind of time for you to go. I think this cycle has kind of served its purpose at this point. This connection is weighing you down more so than lifting you up, Pisces. And while there is, excuse me, while there are certain like I'm seeing like loose ends that maybe need to be tied up about this relationship, like depending on the level of commitment, if you have like assets between you versus like if this is, you know, like a boyfriend or a girlfriend situation, depending on like how easy it is for you to walk away, I'm seeing there being very intentional, conscious steps towards wrapping up those loose ends, Pisces, because the path that you want to take forward for your overall life, I feel like I think if someone asked you like where do you see this relationship in 5 years and where do you see your life in 5 years, like those two things are not in alignment any longer. And I see you choosing the path that you want for your life, you know, even though this relationship um, is no longer a path that you can walk to kind of get to eventually where you are. And I'm just seeing kind of two people that are on very different pages kind of communicate and interpret information in very different ways. But once you make this move, I'm even seeing like I'm not even sure if you were technically with this person or if this is more of a connection where um, there's more distance, literal or figurative, between you. But this is like there's a kind of mental progression that needs to happen, Pisces, for you to align yourself with the kind of family life that you're wanting specifically. And I'm seeing this as like simple, and I'm not saying that to say that it's easy, but this is as simple as realigning your belief system about like what it is that you can and cannot have. I think that with this past connection, it was like there were certain aspects that were honestly deal breakers for you about uh, this partner, this, you know, person that you were in connection with. When you considered the type of person that you would want to build a family and have a home with, there were certain things that I think that genuinely were deal breakers to you, but you were trying to overcome in some way, or you know thought that those things could be kind of overlooked. And it's like once you allow yourself to truly believe to where it's like a deep sense of knowing that you can have all of the things that you want but also deserve like a genuinely loving partner, like there are not these exceptions that you have to make, that will align you with the kind of partnership that I'm seeing would be, I mean, this is like Ten of Pentacles energy. This is happy, like just a happy home life. Someone that you can build with, someone who is able to be, I'm just seeing like someone that's very reliable, someone who, even if you guys have different ways of communicating and understanding one another, someone who takes the time to understand you and wants to just fully understand how it is that you communicate, regardless of like whatever their kind of natural way of doing it is. This is someone, you know, this is that kind of deeper connection, Pisces. But this is again, you like allowing yourself to believe that and trust that there is somebody that has all of the things that you're looking for. The advice. Actually, we'll do the most likely outcome and then we'll move into the advice, because with the most likely outcome, Pisces, again, I see this as like facing that kind of, excuse me, facing that inner voice that I think you have been intentionally kind of either ignoring or drowning out or just not wanting to fully accept, is speaking the truth about um, the reality of this relationship and kind of what you need to do moving forward. Um, this is addressing that kind of shadow, because I am sensing hesitation that leans into fear about what it truly would mean to move on. And I'm getting, again, this connection is something that has been around for some time. It's seen a few cycles. Maybe it's been through really, transformational like times of your life. I'm feeling that kind of meaningful weight here. So this is kind of looking at that and being able to address and kind of make peace with all aspects of yourself that existed throughout this relationship and being able to put those to rest so that you can move forward. The advice that we have is some of the most clear cut advice I have ever received, which is, to do what is in your best interest, to choose yourself, to walk away if that is what that involves. It's to stand up for yourself, to speak your truth, to communicate in a way that, you still are maintaining your integrity and you're saying what needs to be said, but you are also standing up for yourself. This is about not being afraid to stand up for yourself. And moving towards that, you know what I mean? When you allow yourself to, like, standing up for yourself is an act of like self-care and self-love. And when you stop allowing people to, the phrasing is not really coming through. Like, I just feel like there's been many instances where you are aware that this is not the best situation for you. So it's like when you are able to act in your best interest at all times, that's when you open yourself up to higher forms and expressions of love. You know what I mean? This is when you can attract higher forms of love and soulmates that aren't meant to just teach you things, but soulmates that are capable of walking with you through the rest of this life expression and are, able to grow with you, where obstacles and disagreements and things like that don't result in the end of a connection, but in the evolution of a connection. So again, this is just when you remember how amazing you are and when you act from that knowing and you stop making exceptions and making space for people and just hoping that they will show up in ways that you do deserve, right, but ultimately they are incapable of, that is when you will have more opportunities and be presented with partners and other just people that can hold all that you are. Do you know what I mean, Pisces? I am going to pull an oracle for you, dears, and then I will let you go. I appreciate you guys being here. I always feel bad for the last couple of signs because, like, you guys have been waiting all week. Let's see. We have number 33. It says, get lost. Let's see what it has to say. Number 33. It says, knowing exactly where you are and where you're going is overrated. Routine can dull our eyes and create complacency, boredom, inertia. But adventure can open us up, pull on our brave strings, and cause us to release a confidence and curiosity we didn't know was inside. There's magic and discovery in the unknown. Take a risk. Follow your heart. You don't need to know exactly where it's all leading. Sometimes it feels good to be lost in the right direction. All right, Pisces, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope that it was helpful. If this reading did resonate with you and you want to let me know, go ahead and drop a like or a comment. I really do love hearing from you guys, and it helps me out quite a bit over here. If you want to be notified next time I post a video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to be notified, you can hit the little bell. All right, guys, thanks so much again for being here, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.